yeah, so shout out to the hot sheet on Twitter for posting this. And yeah, their work is phenomenal. Go follow them. I love their account. And so they have posted Billboard's top female solo artist of the 80s decade. So this is basically just based on like the chart performance and the numbers and things like that. So at number 1 is Madonna. Yeah, I can understand that. I'm not as familiar with her as like other artists, but I know that she had like the Like a Virgin album. She had the Like a Prayer album. I think True Blue came out. She did her debut. She did like a lot in the 80s. She had a lot of hits as well. And so I can understand her being at number 1, you know, one of the biggest artists of all time. I think she's like the best selling female artist. Like they say 400 million albums sold. I don't know if that's accurate. Please let me know down below in the comments. And don't use Chartmasters either, because that doesn't count. Like that's not legit. Use the RAA or something else that's actually accurate. Number 2, Whitney Houston. Yep, I mean, she had 2 albums this decade. She did her debut album, which had like You Give Good Love, Saving All My Love for You, The Greatest Love of All, How Will I Know, and she even did 2 duets with Janetjackson on an album as well. So that was a big moment for her. And then on the second album, that's when she really crossed over to pop music with the Whitney album. And yeah, she had I Want to Dance with Somebody on that album. And yeah, just moments. Like Whitney really was a force whenever she was like properly put out. And this was back in the days whenever they actually used to go and train you how to be an artist, media training, performance, all these things before pushing you out there. And she even did a duet with Jermaine Jackson on his album before she officially debuted. And because of that, the Grammys were like, oh, you can't be eligible for Best New Artist, which is just ridiculous. Because now artists can be out for 10 years and then they're eligible, but Whitney Houston wasn't because she did one duet. Okay, like that's ridiculous. But yeah, Whitney Houston, The Voice, yeah, definitely. At number 3, Janet Jackson. The way she started off this decade was interesting. Basically, because when she had started, she, I believe, was like 16 or something, and she didn't want to really make music like that. Her father forced her to with her first album. Her second album, she didn't really care about it, same thing. And then she was like, you know what? Let me actually get into this music stuff for real. She starts working with Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. They were at the Control album, smash album. What Have You Done For Me Lately? Control the Song. Pleasure Principle, When I Think of You. Oh, she had hits. Only 9 songs, but she did what she had to do with that album, and people started taking her seriously. We love to see it. And then she did the Rhythm Nation album, and there's no skips on this album. Very socially conscious, talking about racism and, you know, a bunch of like political issues that were going on at the time. And she had 7 top 5 hits with this album. She had just moments. We had Escapade, we had Black Cat, Miss You Much, Love Will Never Do Without You, Come Back to Me, which is one of my favorite Janet songs. And then whenever she finally did her debut tour, it is the best-selling debut tour of all time. Something like that. Like, oh, this was a moment. Like, once she finally, you know, got into the music and everything clicked, yeah, she really came into herself, I think. And she became such a great songwriter. Her longevity, you know, amazing. Number 4, patbenatar. I honestly don't know much about her music, but, you know, all respect to her. I will say that. Number 5, Dianaross. You know, definitely an icon. I don't really know much of what she was up to this decade, to be quite honest with you, but, you know, shout out to her. Number 6, cyndilauper. I think that this is when she did Girls Just Want to Have Fun and True Colors. From what I understand, I think she had like 2 or 3 kind of successful albums, and then she kind of fell off. I don't really know what the reason was for that. I don't know if it was marketing, or sometimes you just have a few hits and fall off. Not everyone has like that longevity. So please let me know down below in the comments kind of why she fell off a little bit commercially, because I would like to know. Olivianewtonjohn, yup, and yup. Is this a decade whenever she released Physical? It might be. That was actually a really great song from her, and I should listen to her music more. I really loved her in Grease, but, you know, shout out to her. Gloriaestefan, iconic, obviously. Tinaturner, yeah. The Private Dancer album was such a moment for her, and the fact that she came back from just so much hate and abuse and everything that she suffered to deliver a masterpiece, to sell that many copies of an album. I mean, what's love got to do with it? Private Dancer, the song, I Can't Stand the Rain. Like, oh, she had hits off that album, and Tina Turner deserves all the respect that she gets. I'm so tired of people constantly disrespecting her and everything that she's been through. It's just really gross. So shout out to Tina Turner. And then last up is going to be Barbrastreisand. I don't know what she was up to this decade either. I'm going to have to be honest with you. You know, I know that she's been very influential to a lot of people. I know that she directed Yentl. I know that she's had a long career as a recording artist. And I know that she was in Funny Girl. That's all I know about Barbra Streisand, and that's that. But I want to know, who do you think had the most successful decade? I mean, of course, we can look at the numbers, but some people have varying opinions. You know, from Billboard, they saying that it was Madonna's decade. Some people would give it to Whitney. You know, it's just all about personal opinions there. You know, so who do you think really owned this decade? Out of everyone here, whose albums are you returning to the most? I would say Janet for me, because she's one of my favorite artists. And I do love Whitney, but I tend to return to her 90s stuff more. So, like, I'm Your Baby Tonight, and also the My Love Is Your Love album, even a few songs off The Bodyguard. So, those are kind of what I prefer from Whitney. But, you know, I have a few songs off her first two albums that I really do enjoy. I will say Madonna's just not really for me. You know, she has written some hits. I will give her that. You know, I can appreciate what she's done for musical artists, but her music was never really for me, if I'm being honest. And yeah, that's kind of my thoughts overall on this decade for the most part. Tina Turner, I'm still trying to get into her discography. I've listened to Private Dancer. I loved it. I want to listen to more stuff from her. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, because this is just really fascinating to me.